The cold wind howled through the narrow alleys of the village, sending dust swirling around the bare feet of a shivering boy. His clothes hung like rags on his thin frame, and his eyes, those tired, aching eyes, held a depth of sorrow that no child should ever know. His name was Aaron, a poor boy with nothing but a dream to one day be heard, be seen, and maybe, just maybe, be valued in a world that had forgotten him. Far beyond the hills and forests that surrounded Aaron's village stood a great golden palace, where King Alaric ruled the kingdom of Veronia. Alaric was known to be wise but distant, a king whose eyes rarely saw beyond the walls of his castle. To him, the world outside was a concept, nothing more than maps and numbers. He believed he knew his people well, but he had never walked among them. One winter's day, King Alaric grew restless. He had heard rumors of growing unrest in the villages, whispers of hunger, of hardship, of lives breaking under the weight of silence. How bad could it be? He thought. So, disguised in a cloak of a simple traveler, the king left his palace with a trusted guard trailing in secret. He wanted to see his kingdom for himself, not through reports, not through officials, but through the eyes of its people. And that's how fate intervened. Aaron was huddled by the roadside, trying to warm his hands over a tiny fire made from scraps of paper and twigs. When he saw the stranger approach, he quickly stood and bowed, not because he recognized a king, but because respect was one of the few things his mother had left him with before she died. "You're not from here," Aaron said, eyeing the stranger's boots, too clean for village life. The king smiled. "You're very observant. I'm just passing through." Aaron tilted his head. "If you're passing through, you'll need to know which streets not to walk. Some dogs here bite harder than wolves." Amused and intrigued, King Alaric sat beside the boy. "Tell me, do you not go to school?" Aaron laughed bitterly. "School is for those who have shoes. For those who can afford to dream. I just hope for a warm meal." A silence followed, heavy, painful. The king's heart, untouched for so long by true sorrow, now felt something stir. This boy, with his sharp words and sharper eyes, was more than poor. He was gifted, and forgotten. Over the next few days, the king stayed in the village. He watched Aaron give his only piece of bread to an old woman. He saw him break up fights among boys twice his size. He listened as Aaron recited poems he had made from watching the clouds, the birds, and the stories his mother once told him under a leaking roof. This boy was no ordinary beggar. He was a spark, a light hidden under the dirt of poverty. On the 5th day, when the king prepared to leave, Aaron followed him. "Do you have a home to go back to?" Aaron asked. The king turned. "Yes, a large one, but I wonder if it's as full of life as your little corner by the fire." Aaron shrugged. "Then maybe it's not the size of the home that matters." The words struck deep. The king reached into his cloak and pulled out a small token, etched with the royal crest. "If you ever find yourself in the city, show this to the guards at the palace gates. They will let you in." Aaron stared at it. "Is this a trick?" "No," the king smiled, "it's a chance." Weeks passed, then months. Life did not get easier for Aaron. A flood washed away half the village. Food became even scarcer. When he finally found himself at the edge of starvation, clutching the token in his bony fingers, he remembered the stranger's words. With trembling legs and an empty stomach, he walked for 3 days to the capital. The guards laughed when they saw him, until he held up the crest. Their faces changed, eyes wide. They opened the gates. Moments later, Aaron stood before King Alaric, not in rags, but freshly bathed, clothed, and fed. "I didn't believe you," Aaron said, voice low. "But I came anyway. And I'm glad you did," Alaric replied. "You opened my eyes, Aaron. And now, I will open doors for others like you." From that day, Aaron was taken under the king's personal care. He was educated alongside the princes and scholars. His thoughts and ideas impressed the royal council. And in time, he became a voice for the forgotten, a leader not by birthright, but by experience. Years later, when King Alaric passed, the kingdom mourned. But they did not despair. Because sitting on the throne was a man who once had nothing but a fire made of twigs and a heart full of dreams. King Aaron, the boy who changed a kingdom not by sword, not by bloodline, but by truth and kindness. Moral of the story: greatness can come from the humblest beginnings. All it takes is someone to see the value in a soul, no matter how broken or forgotten. Never underestimate the power of kindness, of listening, and of giving someone a chance, because even a poor boy by the fire could one day change the fate of a kingdom. Would you like a version with background music cues or a voiceover script next?